This lecture, I want to talk about option to purchase. Now, option to purchase, the word option means rights. Okay, let me just explain. There are two contracts in sale and purchase of real estate. The first contract is agreement to grant the OTP. Like I say, the word option is right. Then OTP stands for right to buy, right to buy. So the first contract is, I agree to grant you the right. You pay me 1%, I give you the option. So, and there is offer, acceptance, consideration, that will be the 1% option fee, and then I will grant you the right. So that is like a normal contract. So now later I will explain what kind of restriction you have when you have the first contract. Okay, second contract will be when the buyer exercise it, that means accept. Okay, accept means that you will have to sign the acceptance copy. All right, okay, and then you will pay another 4% more. So that's called accepting the option or exercising the right. Exercising the right to buy. Now the term option means right, okay, it means right to buy. So I repeat myself already. The option is granted by the seller. So the buyer pay 1% of the agreed purchase price, and then in exchange, the seller grant the paper, and the first contract is done. Now, though the first contract is done when the seller granted the OTP, now the terms in the option do not bind the buyers or the buyer until the buyer accepts the offer. So now, when the buyer accepts the offer, then that will be the second contract. Now that will then be the sale contract, the actual contract. Now, so what is inside? What is inside the option to purchase? Why I say it doesn't bind the buyer? Now, the terms in the option mainly will be, okay, the sale process, when you must come to pay the option exercise fee, and then the remaining fee, how much, give to who, and then of course there will be the legal completion date. And of course, this part, agent like it very much. It also indicate how much the agent will collect for the agent's commission. Now, OTP, option to purchase, is for buyers to secure the offer from the seller. So now when you really start the course, the RES course, then some trainer will go straight into telling you that this is an offer, acceptance, and all that. So I think the right way to explain option to purchase is by first highlighting the fact that there are two contracts. Okay, so the first contract, the buyer already paid the option fee, so the seller gives the option. So now the option, the terms in the option does not bind the buyer. All right, so the buyer is free to decide whether or not I want to continue to go ahead with the purchase, but it binds the seller. So in other words, option, as far as the seller is concerned, is self binding for 2 to 3 weeks. 2 to 3 weeks. Now, so means that the seller cannot grant again to another buyer. Seller cannot grant another option to another prospective buyer. Now, so now the buyer, if the buyer does not accept the right to buy, does not exercise his rights by way of signing on the acceptance copy, and then give another 4% of the agreed sale price. So now this is how you accept. You say that, okay, I want to buy. Now if you don't do that, if the buyer doesn't do that, so the option will lapse. Now usually when the buyer doesn't do that, is because the market is no good. So now when the market is good, sometimes the buyer also will run into some issues with the bank, for example, and then when the time comes, they're unable to exercise. Of course, the seller will be very happy. Oh, okay, because why? They can sell at a higher price. But this kind of situation happens more during the lull market, Lull, lull market. And what happened? The option fee will be forfeited by the seller. Now in the interim, the buyer or the mortgagee will lodge a caveat to protect the interest. Now, usually it's mortgagee, because when the mortgagee don't lodge, that means the buyer never take any loan. So the law firm usually will not lodge for them. So that's why, like, I'm going, in some other videos, I'm going to analyze the foreigner buying Singapore property. Then you will find a very peculiar situation. That is, there are many uncaveated transactions. So therefore, you have you have foreign buyers who don't borrow a loan from the bank. So therefore, there will be no one lodging caveat. Right. Option holder becomes equitable owner, though he has not accepted the terms in the option. So this is not legal owner, just an equitable owner. So you will know that if you are buying new home, it will take the construction of the new project, it will take them 3.5 years to TOP, for example, or maybe 3 years to TOP. Then after TOP is 1 year CSC. After 1 year CSC, that means in the interim like that, 4 years plus before the developer say, come, let's go for legal completion, the owner of the condo, even though they have already lived inside the condo, they are still the equitable owner. Their rights are still being protected by a caveat only, right? Okay, so now, when the buyer go and lodge a caveat, okay, it's based on purchaser's lien. You go and search other video. I have explained vendor's lien, purchaser's lien. When the buyer exercises the option, then the terms in the option become contractual. So now both sets of parties, buyer, seller, now they are bound. They are bound by the sale agreement. So like I say, go search for other topics. I think I have one on caveat versus registration and proprietary interest and personal interest. So I hope this video has been useful to you. Thank you very much.